Hello and welcome to part 2 of this trilogy of video recorders where I look at machines that were given to me recently. Now part 2 is a Panasonic, but I just also want to mention that at the end of this we've got some extra material concerning the DSR60 DV cam deck, which we looked at in the first part. So hang on for that at the end. Now here's a sweet little machine, Panasonic NV DV2000. So this is a mini DV only, won't take DV cam. It says DV Net Workstation Digital Video Cassette Recorder. Pull open, it says. Is the front supposed to open like that? It seems a bit... feels like something's maybe a bit loose here with a hinge. Ah yes, something's slightly broken. There's a screw missing. There's a screw missing from here. Okay, well that should be fixable. Let's see what's going on here. Bit grubby. Lovely looking machine, isn't it? DV2, so DV1 is presumably at the back. We'll come to the back in a moment. Audio record level. Oh yes. Stereo mix. Time-based corrector. 3D noise reduction, print, I wonder what that does. Editing, recorder player, passive, DV edit, 8mm. Oh, Panasonic having to admit that 8mm exists. That's fascinating. Analog inputs at the front. Edit, oh I see, that's for 8mm, that's for connecting to 8mm camcorders via the Control S connector. Actually, I've seen that on Panasonic Super VHS video recorders. So, and I think that was for VHS-C. So I suspect this is sort of prosumer level, this one. Around the back, yes it is, because we have normal S-video capability on the SCART. So analog in and out, another DV connector, digital still picture out. Wonder what that is. Maybe that goes to a printer. It's possible that went to a printer somehow. What a sweet little machine. Well, I've got to give it a whirl, haven't I? I am told that this one has some sort of fault. Let's power it up. It's got 1825 on there. It's not 1825 at the moment, but it's only about 45 minutes out. Switch it on. That lights up. So this is definitely a consumer or prosumer unit. You can hear what sounds like a fan, but it may be a motor straining. It's a fan, I think. Do you think I should take the lid off before I put a tape in? I think I will. That screw feels like it's been off before. This machine, I think, must have some history. Looking inside, power supply seems to be built with low ESR high quality capacitors. I'll try it with a tape, and I'll also start at my monitor, which you can't quite see at the moment, but we'll put a tape in and see if we get anything. Okay, made some shuffling noises, and press play. It played for a few seconds, and then switched off, unlaced, and unlaced and switched off. Now, why would any video recorder do that? Usually because the take-up spool is not keeping up and not taking out the tape after it comes out the pinch roller. So let's just do that again. Switch it on. Yes, I think it's tape slack. Now it's ejected the tape and left tape caught round a guide. So we'll just switch that off. me try and get you a little bit closer. So we have some tape stuck on a guide there that I'm just going to have to release by hand. It's an old gash tape, it doesn't matter too much, but that feels a lot like take-up problems. So one of the quick ways of testing this, of course, would be see if it can rewind a tape okay, and if it can, then look at fast forward, and if it won't fast forward and it won't play, then you know you're on a problem with the take-up spool. So let's power it up, give it a moment to initialize. Switch on. Haven't actually identified where that fan is yet. Oh yes, there's the fan here, because there's a big sort of air filter going on. That's a slightly odd noise, isn't it? The way it's built, you can't see the spools on the tape, which is a little unfortunate. Done the same again, it's damaging the tape. Really should power it off before fishing the tape out, because if it thinks it has a tape being loaded, it could grab my fingers and damage me or it, so let's not do that. Actually, before I power up, I'm just going to make sure that the spools, tape spools, spin freely. Long time ago I had a machine in where there was a problem with spools, and one of them had just stuck for no reason, and I span it and the machine ran quite merrily ever after. So sometimes it's worth just making sure that they are happy. They appear to be fine. That noise is definitely telling us something, isn't it? Loads of tape slack again. That noise is telling us that I'm fairly sure that what's going on is the noise is happening as it's trying to drive that table. Let's see if I can take the deck out and have a look at that. What I'm hoping here is that I might be able to have the deck function whilst being able to see it, which of course is not the case with most modern machines. But it depends if the cables have enough room on them. I can't risk damaging a cable. Just about enough room to be able to see the underneath of the deck, but that, well, the underneath of this assembly, but that doesn't really give me access to the deck. I'll try it, just on the off chance I can hear what's making that noise. Not really, I can't know. Well, I'm going to have to take the deck out. Just found that screw to be very loose, so this has been apart before. And still not a lot closer to the wheel drive mechanism. You could easily give up on this, couldn't you? Where do we go from here? So we have the deck. Let's take a closer look. Can we see any obvious problems with the table drives? At the moment it's not abundantly obvious what actually drives them. Clearly there's no access through from the bottom. It's all assembled from the top. There's the capstan motor, and I think I would expect the capstan motor to be responsible for driving the spools. So I'm swinging the capstan motor backwards and forwards. It seems to be, of course we can't tell what state the mechanism is in, but it feels like it's trying and failing to turn these. It might be that this gear is broken. Let's see if we can give it a little nudge. Yes, look, it's working now. Is this gear broken? Hope you can see that. It looks like there are possibly some splits in this gear. Let's see if we can see all the teeth on it. Because it is working now. And then it gets like that position and misses. It'll turn that way and it won't turn that way. That's clearly the problem. Hope you can see it. So as I'm turning the capstan motor on the back, you can see that if I turn the capstan motor in this direction I'm turning it now, the supply spool is going in reverse over here. That's a rewind. If I turn the motor the other way, the take-up spool goes forward. That's over here. But then it gets to a position it won't go. It keeps finding a dead spot. Right. And then from that position, if I give this gear here a little bit of a nudge forward, I'm going to do that with my screwdriver. It'll work for a while. Give it a bit of a nudge forward if I can. It's not having it now. Go backwards. There, it's going forwards. It goes forwards for a little bit and then it disengages. So what's causing it to disengage? Either it's working now, look, and then it stops. What causes it to let go? Right, well the fault lies in this area, under there. I suspect it has cracks in that gear. But the only way, the gear that's up here, which I hope you can see underneath the pinch roller. But of course it could be the gear that's driving it, which is from the capstan. So really I need to get this pinch roller assembly off. That could be quite hard. I can see one screw there. Could be a lot more to it. But let's see if I can take that screw off without completely mashing the thing up. It looks like one of the first things they fitted when they assembled the deck. Okay, there's the pinch roller and its spring, which I know I need to retension when I refit that. There's a washer on the top of the gear that we're talking about, but still I need to see the meshing. Let's find a small enough screwdriver to point it with. The meshing between the gear that's on the capstan motor and the gear that drives the real drive. I need to see why that's not meshing properly in both directions. So let's spin it again. Okay, so I have a dot on the gear at the point at which it seems to be slipping in one direction, in the forward direction. Now if I turn that around, perhaps I can see if the teeth there look particularly worn. I think what I'm going to do is have a look at this under a microscope. Funny, it works in one direction quite happily and then loses it in the other direction. I've just seen something. There's actually a drive belt underneath this gear. But that's not the problem. That's transferring the drive from this gear to the spools. But the problem I'm having is that this right now I'm twiddling the capstan and the spools are going nowhere. The other possibility is the teeth are worn off on the capstan gear, motor gear, which I can get to relatively easily. It looks like I just need to undo one screw here and I can withdraw the capstan. I think I'll have a look at that because at least I can get to that fairly easily. I suspect it's the gear on the top of the deck that's causing the problem here, but since this one's a lot easier to get to, I'll check it first. That was better actually, that one. So that's taken off the cover to the top of the capstan motor. So hopefully now I can withdraw the capstan motor. Of course, permanent magnets may hold it in place somewhat, and it may also have split washer type things on it. So let's see if I can pull that out or not. I'll just take it as far as I need to so that I can inspect these teeth. on the back of it, which I'll try to point to you there. Any of those teeth mangled? I'm pretty sure the problem lies with that gear there. So our problem is this gear. I'm sure it is. Can you see it again? How are we going to get that out? But I don't see any that are actually short. Look at the gears split. Look, so what's happening is, that's the problem. The drive is being applied to this, and then the gear is splitting, and then it's not pushing the drive through any further. Any chance of Aralditing that together? What do you think? I mean, there's nothing to lose, is there? There's one split there. How many places is it split? 3. It's split into 3 places. But there's nothing on top of this gear. I can't see any reason I can't just apply some Araldite to that. Right. I'll take a photo on the microscope so you can see what I'm talking about, and then we'll have a go at Aralditing that. So you last saw me working on this broken gear using a microscope, and I tried to add a bit of epoxy resin, Araldite, to the top of that gear in the hope that it would hold it together. No, it didn't work. In fact, the gear broke into 3 pieces. It looked like there may have been a chemical reaction with the gear, and it actually went sort of slightly soft and spongy. So it was always a long shot, and if I had a time machine, I'd pop back and try again with cyan acrylite glue or super glue, but no, it's not likely to have fixed it, really, is it? So really it needs new gear. Now, looking up service manual, part number is VDG1445 for that gear, at least I believe it is, but it's pretty certainly unobtainable. So I find that a little bit annoying, you know, that the whole machine, all this technology, perfectly usable machine today, is brought down to e-waste by a simple plastic gear that was never big enough and strong enough for the job it was given in the first place. So I have to say it's a bit disappointing from Panasonic. And you could say, well, okay, it's only consumer electronics. But that same gear was used in professional Panasonic cameras. The DVX100, which was a very expensive professional camera that was used in film production. They still fetch good money today. Don't buy one, because it uses that same feeble little gear that's just bound to break because it's not up to the job. So quite disappointed in Panasonic there. On the off chance that someone maybe has a gear or scrap machine that they could let me have one day, I'm going to carefully reassemble this. I may not refit all the connectors, but I'll reassemble it mechanically so that I know where everything goes, and one day maybe a replacement gear will turn up. I have a 3D printer, but I know there's absolutely no chance of making a part with teeth that small to anywhere near the precision that's required on a 3D printer, so that's not going to get us anywhere. Oh well, I'll put it together, and it can go on my junk pile in the hope that one day a part will turn up. Let's move on. Well, let's not finish on the downer that the Panasonic was. I've got some extra material for the DSR60, which we did in the previous video. Let's have a look at the circuit boards on that one. Something else I want to show you on here before I put this away. I've just seen one of these boards here. Let's take a look at some of these boards. They obviously had some kind of terrible redesign thing going on here. Let's bring in a bit closer. This looks like some sort of terrible production nightmare. Wow. What happened there? Interesting. It says one of these markings is record switch, which is odd because this machine doesn't record. That clearly has the firmware on it because it says DSR60 version 1.01. And looking at a typical chip date code, we see 96 something there. So that sounds about right. So this is in the very early days of DV. There's more firmware on here. 9614, those EPROMs are date coded. You have to remember that DV was the cutting edge of technology back in 1996, when people were still using VHS-C and rubbish like that. This is the business. I'm guessing this is Syscon here. This probably is motor drivers. That's my guess. Should we look at some of the other boards since we're here? More firmware. I don't know what this board does. Something to do with the character size there. So there's something on there to do with the on-screen. And a few more bodge components. Aha. Now I'd hazard a guess that they've used the same PCB print on the recorder and the player version. So half of this board is not populated because that's to do with record. Look, input Y, for example. So that's where all the input recording circuitry is. Yes, you can see this is all to do with recording. And this is playback. Green level, red level, blue level. Lots of capacitors that could potentially fail here, but presumably they haven't. They've been spinning a lot of their own circuitry, Sony. That looks memory there, memory arteries. What does that board do? I don't know. Certainly some analog in it. Some of that is probably to do with time coding, I suspect. And then that's where you could have your SDI. And I think there's also an option for another board to do with time coding. I can't remember exactly what that is. So, okay, and we have some emptiness here as well. I dare say there's the same chassis could be used on the recorder as well as the player, and it would have a lot more in it. Fascinating machine. Well, I hope you've been enjoying this series. So far then we've done a Sony DSR60 DV cam deck, and we had some extras for that just now, and also the Panasonic Mini DV. And we have another machine, completely different, analog one, coming up for the third part of the trilogy. So do remember to like, share, and especially subscribe. I'll carry on doing more audio and video technology videos. Bye for now.